Welcome to the Motor Mouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week. And halfway through, we stop for a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars. And we've spun it off. We're up to number 67. How do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Put a post out with Zach and I holding coffee. Get your questions in early. Once we gather them all, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Greetings from Delaware. I'm considering buying my first Audi ever and wanted to know which one you would recommend for the first test drive. It says which ones. Which one?
Well, that's a very broad spectrum of choices. Unfortunately, we don't know how much do you want to, at least this is what somebody asked me a question, friends. Somebody I used to work with reached out and said, I want to get a new car. First question I ask is, how much do you want to spend and what size vehicle do you want? Like what type of vehicle?
SUV.
Sedan, SUV. If you're looking at
It's
a car.
his first Audi, maybe he's younger?
I would say that for a sedan, an S4 is kind of fun, or an S3. If those are sort of the more entry-level fun ones.
Yeah. And then if you're looking for an SUV, Q3 or Q5, you'll have more fun, I feel, with the Q3. It's a little bit smaller. I prefer the technology in the Q3 over the Q5. It needs a bit of a refresh or an update to the Q5. So I would say, if you don't really need the space, an A3 or a Q3.
Yeah, the Q3
options.
runs on regular gas. That's definitely a selling feature over the other ones we just mentioned. So yeah, we're at a bit of we're handcuffed a little bit. We don't know how much you want to spend and what kind of vehicle you want.
Love your show. The only auto reviewers that I watch. Trying to decide between an Alfa Romeo Stelvio and a BMW X3. By the way, thank you. Really glad you're loving the show. I need space behind the rear seats without having to fold them down for a large dog crate. Also has to be as fun to drive as my Fiat. A tall order to be sure. Which would you choose?
Well, based on cargo space, the X3 is going to be the winner.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how big a dog, but you said a large dog.
It's in a crate.
In a crate. So that's going to, you know what you do? You take the crate to the dealer, and if it fits inside the Stelvio, you're going to get the Stelvio because you're already, you want an Italian car. And the Stelvio is just a fun car.
Oh,
and
my
great
God.
Power, more standard power than the X3.
Just based on you saying I want a fun vehicle, it's like Stelvio, hands down. But space-wise, it's X3. So you've got to go to the dealership and make sure you can fit that crate in the Stelvio. Is the RAV4 getting a facelift redesigned for 2025?
Well, they're talking dirty like that. You know what? I grilled one of the executives. We were in Toronto for the auto show with Toyota, and we had him cornered. And I was asking about it, and he said it's probably going to be the end of 2025.
Yeah.
So we were all thinking it's going to be end of this year as a 25, and it's like, no. It's going to be end of 2025.
So that's probably going to be a 2026.
That's disappointing. I'm disappointed, Andrea.
Which, you know what? That makes sense. You know why?
Why's that?
Because the Forester Hybrid's going to be out then in 2026.
Yeah.
And I bet you there's going to be some sort of a connection with that. That's our feeling.
But
because
you know
I
what?
don't think that the Forester Hybrid's going to be a 2025 model. I mean, I could be wrong. But
Well,
we'll wait and
the new
see.
Forester that we saw is a 2025 model, right?
Yes.
Yes, so next year
hybrid,
the hybrid will be a 26. Toyota will fall in line with that.
Yeah.
And that will also be the year that they'll update the CR-V, will give it a facelift. So what you see in the auto industry is a category of cars, and everybody will either have a new or facelifted model in that category of cars. We've recently gone through all of the mid-size SUVs, the Pilot. We got the new Grande Highlander.
Yeah.
We've seen a bunch of those vehicles getting refreshed. We saw the Palisade,
Tacoma.
and Telluride all getting refreshed. So now they're going to move on to the compact SUVs, which is the most important one. And Toyota doesn't really need to rush, Andrew, because they're selling every RAV4 they can make now.
I know. Even the gas model, that's quite loud. They sell so many of those too. You know what? The only thing is I caution people on is lots of rumors. And sometimes there's just so many rumors, but nothing's actually been confirmed by the brand. And then they get really disappointed when it comes out and it's not what they expected.
Tell the story.
Mazda's a perfect example. they released the CX-70. There are so many people that are disappointed in that vehicle because A, they thought it was going to be an all-new vehicle. Many thought it was going to be based on the CX-60, which is not sold in North America, it's sold in other markets. In the end, it turned out to be a CX-90 without a third row. And I actually spoke to Mazda about this, and they said, we never said anything. We never said the CX-70 was going to be all new. We gave no information, but the rumors were rampant. And even that brand said people are disappointed because they thought it would be something different. However, we do have viewers who have reached out and said, I really like the CX-70.
Yeah.
I like it that Mazda finally has a very large 5-passenger vehicle.
Well, that's just an example, but there are many channels, and if you watch YouTube, you know this, that are speculation channels. There was one I recently saw, and they're speculating on the 2026 Corolla. It's like they have no idea what's going to be coming for Corolla in
Ridiculous.
2026. There's whole channels dedicated to what's this going to have and what's that going to have. A lot of times they're wrong. Sometimes they guess it right, and they might have some intel, but a lot of times it's just a dart in the dark and they're hoping to hit it. And so you're way better to find out when you get closer to the on sale date.
Love your channel. Thank you. Looking to upgrade my 2013 A4 base. Thoughts on 3 Series M40i versus IS 350? Something else?
Well, the problem with the BMW is it is so much more money. So the BMW M40 engine, that's the inline 6, is kind of like the gold standard in that class. It's fantastic, almost 400 horsepower, 380 something. It's crazy good car, but boy, it's so much more, and we love the IS.
Good value with the IS 350. The other one that actually offers pretty good value, although when you look at the price tag, you go, whoa, that's expensive. But remember, the IS 350 and the TLX, that they come with a lot of features, and that TLX Type S only has one trim. And once you start looking at the BMW, there's lots, we all know there's packages and a la carte items, and that thing gets up in price. Do you know which one I would look at? And some of you will laugh at me.
Can I guess?
Yes.
The Genesis G70?
No. Sedan. You're thinking G70? Is that what you
Yes,
said?
G70.
G70. No, I'm not a huge fan of the G70 because it sits too low to the ground for me. Remember I had trouble getting comfy?
I'm dying to know now.
Think of one. You know. The bag from Italy.
The Alfa Romeo Giulia.
That's
Great car.
That's the one. I'm sorry. I would take a chance on that one. I just
you know what?
love it.
Well, every time we drive an Alfa Romeo, we always say to people, write below and tell us how your car has been for reliability if you've owned an Alfa Romeo. And the comments get filled up with people who have Alfa Romeos and they love them. And and a lot of times they've been reliable. And then you read the quality scores and they get beat on, and every time we drive an Alfa, it's like except for the plug-in. What was the plug-in called again?
Oh,
the
didn't
Tonale.
like that.
The Tonale was basically a fancy Fiat or
really
a Dodge.
disappointing.
Don't get that one.
No,
but if you want to
not
get
a true Alfa.
a Giulia or a Stelvio,
Gosh, the Giulia in green with the tan interior.
Listen,
come on, that gets me excited.
Get the naturally aspirated V6 Lexus IS 350. It's got just enough power.
Yeah.
It's fun to drive. It's comfortable. It's got kind of an old tech interior, but you're coming from an older car.
Anyway,
I think just go and get the Lexus.
Lexus is great. Would like to hear if you have an upcoming review of the Lincoln Hybrid Nautilus. I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts on all of the changes. Love your channel and your honest, unfiltered opinions.
We got the biggest fish. We got the Navigator this week. It's a big boy, and
it's a beast.
It's parked in front of our house, and I had to drive around and trying to find a spot for it. Anyway, that one we have. It's not a plug-in. It's a good old burner.
I would like to drive the Nautilus, but the problem is that we have to wait for these vehicles to come in the press fleet. If Lincoln invites us,
we'll reach out
on something, but we'll ask them. Why don't we ask and we'll see?
We're going to see them in a few weeks, so we'll ask them.
Yeah, we'll ask that for you. We hope to get it.
We're going on a Ford program, but we can also ask about Lincoln.
Another question about Mazdas. Would you pick the CX-5 or CX-50? What would you pick?
Yes. They're both fine. There's no wrong answer there. It depends whether you like apples or oranges. One is a traditional SUV shape. That's the CX-5, but it's smaller. And the CX-50 is more kind of, I get wagon vibes off it, which is kind of what I like. The CX-5 has independent rear suspension. The CX-50 does not. They've got the same engines. You get a panel roof in the CX-50. You don't in the CX-5. If you just had to, if you really push me, Andrea, I'd take the CX-5.
I would take the CX-5 hands down because the seats are more comfortable. I'm happy with the moonroof. I just find the CX-5 to be more comfortable, and I like the way it looks more. Hello again. The wait is over, and we are finally getting a Grand Highlander Hybrid Limited.
Good for you. That's like winning. You got the golden ticket. Look at you.
Wow. Since this is our first family vehicle, what recommendations would you have in regards to maintenance and upkeep in terms of taking care of the paint, oil changes, tire checks, etc.?
Okay.
We live in the tri-state area in the U.S. Your reviews of this car made my research seamless.
Okay, this is the least read book in the world. It's the least read book in the world.
It is true.
And look, I haven't gone through it yet, but
it's huge.
Well, yeah, but this is the least read book in the world. This is called an owner's manual.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's not engaging reading.
Let me see this.
But you can.
Oh my gosh! Don't spill in our new car. Look at this.
Yeah, but the thing is, the main thing you want to do is you want to follow the owner's manual for the scheduled maintenance and what they want to do. For paint, it's expensive, but if you can afford a ceramic coating, isn't a terrible thing to do, but it's expensive, especially for a Grand Highlander. It's going to be north of $1,000 to get that done. You want to have your car washed regularly, and if you're not going to ceramic coat it, have it waxed once or twice a year professionally, and that's going to cost you several $100s. So that's going to take care of the paint and just look after it. But
guys, it's got everything in here, even driving through water on roads.
Yeah, so what you want to do is you just want to follow the maintenance schedule set out by Toyota. There's guys in white lab coats in Japan that came up with that schedule, so follow it.
Follow that schedule.
But that is, you know what?
This is, oh man, this is
I just want to do, I got to get my gag. I got to do my gag.
Functions and symbols.
I just want to say, this is, when you sell a used car, this is the thing that is still brand new. It's still brand new.
Nobody looks at it.
Because nobody looks at it.
Remember the situation with the Outlander plug-in hybrid?
Yeah.
When
it wouldn't start in the cold?
Super cold temperatures, it wasn't starting for people. People pulled out their owner's manual and he started firing things off to me from the owner's manual.
And it's all in there.
And I thought, that's good. And it was in there. Like, things about that situation was in the owner's manual.
Yeah, so spend some time, or when you ever have anything and you think of something, go look in the manual first. But regular maintenance, just drive it and go for what Toyota says.
And talk to your dealership about it too.
Oh, no,
I'm sure you have a good relationship.
They'll always upsell you. You've got to come in for more.
Listen, we are dealing with Vancouver Volkswagen right now, and they're terrific. Yeah. Like, I asked them a few questions and I got my answer. So not all dealerships should be treated,
but this happens
equally. Some are better than others.
We get people say to me, "Oh, I've got my car and it says that the service interval is 7,000 miles or kilometers," and they've called me and they said, "You've got to come in and change it at 4." And I'm like, "No, the team that put that owner's manual together, do what they say. They're just trying to upsell
in the manual.
They're trying to upsell you on another oil change."
Guys, love your show. Thank you. In the coming months, I'll be purchasing a new car. Being from Montreal, the auto theft capital of Canada. Ooh. Yikes. I would like to know what devices are effective or what prevention measures I can take in keeping my car safe. No. Also, is there anything I should consider at the dealership of what they may be offering me for my vehicle for security?
Number one thing is a garage.
Yeah. Or if you can park another car that is not likely to be stolen in front of that vehicle, that's helpful. Now, Toyota is actually putting in like you have to buy it and they'll put it in for you at the dealership. But
and a mobilizer.
Or a tracking device. But the problem is there was one, I think it was a Tundra pickup truck. It had that in. The guy paid extra for it. And when the criminals came in, they ripped it out. But you know what he did?
What did he do?
He had a second one.
Ooh, he had
a second one hidden somewhere else
An
that
AirTag.
he bought for himself.
Some good old-fashioned physical deterrents, like a club on the wheel is making a return. That was big in the 90s. The club has made a return. If you really, really are worried about, you've got a very highly sought after car, and they're really going after a lot of Toyota and Lexus products. You can take the fuel relay out of the fuse box. That's too much work every time you get in and out of the car. And also, number one, physically make sure it's hard to get at the car.
Hard to get at the car, yeah. It's tough for you guys in Montreal right now and
Ontario.
in Ontario. Quebec and Ontario, it's just the worst.
Garage is the best.
Oh, if you've got a garage, do it. Love your content. I have a Tucson 22 gas model. Absolutely love it. Although the hybrid is what we want to move into. Do you think I should book one for next year with the redesign and sell the gas model after 3 years? Not if sure. If I will get the return cost with up to 50% depreciation.
Well,
what do we always say, Zach?
The least expensive car to own is the one that you have.
Yeah.
And so getting a new car is, I call it, it's an expensive way to save a few bucks. Because people will email all the time and they go, oh, I want to get a new car because this one uses a lot of gas. And I'm like, so you're going to spend thousands of dollars in fees and freight and shipping and taxes so you can save a few bucks at the pump. That makes no sense to me.
No sense.
And so you're doing basically the same thing. You're trading in a perfectly good car to save a few bucks at the pump. And so if the dealer can give you good resale for your used Tucson and you can order a new one, you can order the car and then crunch the numbers when it comes and see if it's a good deal.
If you want it. Go from there. But hybrids are so popular now, you're going to wait for that hybrid for sure to come in. I just think that you're better off just to keep what you have. Let the dust settle a bit with hybrids. They're going to make hybrids. It's pretty clear. People want them. And then maybe they won't be as popular. I just feel like to get rid of a brand new vehicle, unless you can get a really good deal on that, if they're going to buy it, the gas model, and the difference between the two is really very little, I mean, then it's a no-brainer,
Order
right?
the car when it comes in, see what they're going to offer you for the used one, and then run the numbers then. But you're still going to be paying to save money. It's just
and hybrids are more money.
It's a psychological thing. It's like, this car costs me more at the pumps than that car, but to get out of that car and into that car is going to cost you several years worth of fuel. Like, run the numbers on that.
I say keep what you have. The EV range I'm getting is nowhere near the claimed 60 kilometers for the XC90 Recharge 2024. Could this be because of cold weather, or is this common with other PHEV cars as well? Well, it's definitely common in cold weather for all plug-in hybrids and pure EVs. I mean, if you've got your heat on in the front, in the rear, you've got the heated seats on, you're going to lose range. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, so you've got to remember when you buy a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid or even an EV. EV's not so much because you can always just top it up. But if you're driving a plug-in or a regular hybrid, you're looking at averaging down your fuel costs. So in the winter, you're going to be using more fuel. In the spring and summer and fall, you're going to be using a lot less fuel because the electric range is going to be better, to all of those things Andrea mentioned. So you have to look at it holistically. You have to look at it as an average for the year, not month to month. And you will see as the spring comes and the weather gets better, your range will improve. And just keep that in mind. When you get those terrible months, just think, oh, in the summer it'll be the opposite.
Yeah, and always remember that plug-in hybrids and pure EVs don't like extreme cold, and they don't like extreme heat. It is the way that they are. What I would like is for anyone who owns an XC90 plug-in hybrid, tell us the sort of range that you've been able to get. I think this would really benefit our viewer as well. And of course, say where you live, warmer, colder temperatures, that sort of thing.
The only thing is you have to have the new one, because the older one had terrible range.
Yes,
so you have
that
to go
is
with
true.
the new one.
You've got to go with the one that has more range. Can we do one more?
Well, we're
It's a
already
quick
long
one.
here. Everything with you is quick, Andrea.
Okay, just really quick. Love your show. I have a 2016 Scion IM and looking for a new vehicle. I'm considering a Mazda 3. However, I know the early 2000s Mazda 3s were riddled with rust issues. Talk to Mazda about this. No, there's no more rust issues. They've taken care of that. These were early days. You are correct. And some have reported up to 2011 having issues, but after that, nothing.
It's like we drive down the highway and we're coming up alongside a Mazda 3 and it's got rust. It's got big holes in the side of it. I said to Andrea, I bet you this is from Quebec. So we drive up along next to it. It's got Quebec license plates. The interesting thing is Mazda's largest market share outside of Japan is the province of Quebec. And they just rotted in people's driveways. And they've still been able to maintain that great market share because people in Quebec really, they like them everywhere, but especially in Quebec, they really like them. So they have improved that a lot. They had those issues. They know it. They fixed it. And
I
now,
asked Mazda Canada specifically about this, and they said no.
Are you think a car company's ever going to say, oh yeah, Andrea, our cars rot, don't buy
Well-
them? They're going to always say, it's not a problem, Andrea.
No, they're very open, Mazda. I like them a lot. They even
I'm not saying
said we
them.
had a problem. Now we fixed it.
Yes, there you go. All right, so how do you get a
That's
question
it.
in?
Follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, I put a post out. Once we gather our questions, the post is deleted. So get your questions in early, and we thank you for all of them.
Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Thanks for watching.